Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah, and welcome to the live video chat. Hi, everyone. Happy Halloween. Did you know today is October 30th and it's National Candy Corn Day? I've got a little mix here. I've showed it to you before, and I'm going to show you, for those of you that don't really like candy corn, I'm going to show you how to make a little mix to make you fall back in love with candy corn. Well, like I said, happy Halloween and trick or treat. Well, just so that everyone remembers and knows, the live video is on my Facebook page at Posh Pooch Designs, and I see some of you already clinking in. And every Tuesday, we try at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, because I am south of Denver, to have a live video chat. And for now, we have them on Facebook. And then when it's all done, I tweak it up a little bit, and then I shoot it over to YouTube. So welcome all my Facebook friends and welcome all my YouTube friends. I hope that everybody's ready for Halloween. And also, I know some people don't really celebrate Halloween, but it's a fun time of year to get in the fall mood for things. Good morning, Michelle and Dana and Nancy and Linda and Tammy and Julia. So glad you're already popping in. Don't forget to clink in. Isn't this the cutest cup? Trick or treat. All right, so I've got a lot of fun things planned for today. I'm going to show you how to make a little cover for the top of a pumpkin. And I chose to do this because I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I don't carve my pumpkins. That's the white one. Here is an orange one. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then I'm going to show you how to make this real quick. It's super easy. I've got a naked pumpkin here to show you. Before that, I got a cute little joke for you. I see some more of you popped in. Vicky and Kimmy, Samantha and Aurora. Okay, so here's the joke. How do you mend a broken pumpkin? I'm going to give you a few seconds, see if you can figure it out. All right, so let me talk to you a little bit about dogs, Halloween, and pumpkin. First of all, I want to remind you that if you have dogs in the house, and even though they're really friendly dogs, when you have trick-or-treaters coming to your door, sometimes all these kids that are all excited and hyped up on candy and, just happy and having a good time can be just a little bit scary for your dogs and even your cats. So I really suggest that if they have a crate, that you crate them, or you put them in a room with the door shut, or even if they're friendly and want to see the kids, just put them on a leash. Because did you know that Halloween is the second most popular day for dogs to run away? The first one, of course, is the 4th of July, and that's because of all the noise and the fireworks. But the second one is Halloween, and that's just because of all the excitement. You're excited, the kids are excited, the dogs and the cats are excited, and so let's just try to keep our pets safe, okay? That's the first thing I wanted to talk to you about dogs. Let's see, Heather popped in, and Leslie, good to see you. All right, so let's talk about pumpkins. Now, the reason that I make little cuffs for my pumpkins is so that I can use the pumpkin for my dogs. And I'll tell you what I do. I just make a little cuff and it slides right on. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But when Halloween is over, I don't want to paint them, I don't want to put markers on them, and I don't want to cut them because I'm going to use these pumpkins. And I like to buy the smaller ones. I don't like to get them any bigger than this. And what I do is I cut the stem off. I just slice them right in half. I dig out all those seeds. I wash them. I can put those on a roasting pan and roast the pumpkin seeds, which are very, very good for you, by the way. They're loaded with antioxidants. And then I take those pumpkins. I don't peel the skin off. I get the seeds out, but that's all I do. I chop it in little bitty pieces, and I stick them in my crock pot with a little bit of water, just enough, because the pumpkin flesh is very watery, so you don't have to add a lot of water. Anyway, I chop them all up, I stick them in my crock pot, and I just let it simmer all day. and then I turn it off. And then in the evening, once it's cool, I'll blend it up into puree, and then I'll separate it into little containers. And I save my ice cream containers, the little plastic ones that you all know I like. And you can also use jars or just leftover butter or Tupperware containers. And I put those in the freezer because my dogs eat pumpkin every meal. I give them a tablespoon, and it's a wonderful thing to give your dog. It's very healthy for them. Like I said, it's got great antioxidants, but it's also fantastic for little dogs who have trouble with their glands because they're great for fiber. And so that way you don't have to throw away your pumpkins. And another thing that you can do, if you are someone who really likes to carve and make those beautiful creations, that's totally fine too. You can still use those. Just make sure you wash it before you put it in. I mean, of course you want to wash these other ones anyway, but make sure you wash it, that there isn't any leftover ink or pen residue or anything like that. That could go into that. And also, around here, we have a lot of people that have goats and chickens. And so, say you're a family of 5 or 6, and you each did a big old pumpkin. Rather than throwing them away, you can check around and see if there's any farmers around that want to feed those to their goats or chickens. And so that's a great way to take care of those leftover pumpkins. I decided with this one to go ahead and hot glue it down because this is a plastic pumpkin. I just picked it up at Michael's. I thought it was pretty with white, and I wanted to put the teal on there because the big deal about the teal is to let people know that you have treats for children that have allergies, like treats without any peanuts in them. And what I do is I get a big bag of those plastic spiders and bracelets and things like that that I can give away. Unfortunately, we live pretty much out in the country, and we haven't really had very many trick-or-treaters, but I want to be ready. And the other thing I do is I buy those Kinder eggs. That way, whichever trick-or-treaters I have, they get a pretty good little prize from us. And then they'll remember. Yeah, I'm trying to score brownie points, or should I say Kinder points. All right, let me check in, see who else has popped in. Let's see. Teresa, Susie, Kimberly. Good morning, Kimberly. Carol, Dawn, Nana's Crafty Corner. Is that Cheryl? That's spelled different. That's pretty. Well, okay. Are you ready to find out how to make the little lacy cover for your pumpkin? Because I'm going to show you how to do it and then explain to you how it'll work for any size pumpkin. All right. Now, you can make them for real pumpkins or you can make them for artificial pumpkins. Like you see here, this is a real one that I did. And I like to make them so that I can just slide it right off. Okay, I'm going to move that one out of the way. And then this one over here I did is, of course, that plastic pumpkin that I got at Michael's. And I did the teal color for children to know that I have treats that are good with them that have different allergies. All right, and we're going to do the same thing, but I am going to show you how to do it in such a way that it will work for any size pumpkin. Now, this one's quite a bit smaller. And what you're going to need is just some fun yarns. I've got this green. I thought it looked like Frankenstein green. And I'm going to use a little bit of black for the bow. Let me show you where I put that bow on there. See right there, there's a bow. You don't have to put it on there, and you can put anything you want on there, buttons and all kinds of things. All right, now I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to be using an eye hook today. This particular eye hook is a 5.25. If your eye hook is a 5.5, it'll probably be okay. You just might want to tighten up your gauge just a little bit. I'm going to throw those over there and pop on my glasses. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to start by making a circle. Okay, let me set that up there. And let me turn my notes because I make sure I give you the right notes here. All righty, so what we're going to do is we're going to chain 27 chains. So I'm making my slip knot. I've got a little bit of black on my finger there from I burnt myself with using my hot glue gun this morning. All right, so we're going to chain 27, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get in there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I need 7 more. right, so here I've got 27 chains. Let's make sure I chain the right amount. Sometimes when I'm talking, I lose count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. All right, so we're going to join this in a circle. And this is the top that we're going to slide over the stem. So we're going to grab that tail of our yarn and just pull it through that loop. We'll snug that down, and then we're going to make what I call a stay knot. You just take the tail and make a little knot. And that's going to keep that loop from coming undone while we're working with it. All right, so now we're going to make a single crochet in each of these 27 chains. So we'll go in the first chain, pull up a loop. There we go, and that's a chain 1 because we didn't already have it started. So we're going to go right in that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. So there's our first single crochet. We had to stitch that chain 1 just to get us on the top of our chain. And we're going to be stitching our stitches in the top loops. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through those 2 loops all the way around, and make sure you do have your 27 chains. When you're stitching in the chains like this, sometimes we can lose those loops or maybe just stitch in the wrong loop. It happens, you know. Someone asked me the other day, when will I be an expert crocheter? And I said, never. I think that we can all be at a place where we're learning new things. And crochet is an ever-changing art, and so we are going to always be learning new stitches and new techniques to do. Alrighty, so I'm moving around here, trying to go a little bit fast, because this row takes just a little bit of time, not much, of course. The also neat thing about these is once you make them, you've got them for the next couple years. Even if you can try to buy similar sized pumpkins each year if you want to. But because yarn is stretchy, you got a little bit of room to play with. All right, I'm almost around here. Trying to go quickly. I liked this color green because like I said, I thought it kind of reminded me of Frankenstein. I like Halloween. I have a good time, but I don't really like bloody, gory, scary things. Whoops, there we go. That last chain. All right, so there's my chains. I'm going to join to my first single crochet, not the chain 1. The chain 1 was just to get us up. Okay, so here's my first single crochet. We're going to join with the slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 4. All right, so there's our first row. All right, so we chained 4, and this chain 4 counts as a chain 3, or I'm sorry, as a double crochet, chain 1. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch. We're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Now, this first row, you really won't do any adjusting for the size. We're going to do it the same, or this is actually the second row, of course. Chain 3, skip 3, and this is a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. Alrighty, chain 3, skip 3, and double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch. There is 2 double crochets, but there's a chain 1 in between it. 1, 2, 3. That tail out of the way, it's kind of bugging me. Keeps catching my eye. All right, so I chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll stitch that V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. 1, 2, 3. All right. 1, 2, 3. double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should have 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and here's our last one. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, and we're going to join to the chain 3, not the chain 4, but the chain 3 with a slip stitch. And then we'll slip stitch right in that chain 1 space. And I'm going to go ahead and chain 4. Actually, I'm going to chain 3. On this row, we chain 3. And you'll notice, I'm going to just kind of flatten that out, is this is going to be the same on any size pumpkin. This is the part that goes down over the pumpkin. All right? So now this next row is where we're going to do some adjusting. And that's where you need to have the pumpkin that you're making it for nearby. All right? So in this next stitch, what we're going to do is we're going to make a shell stitch. So our chain 3 here counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to double crochet right in that chain 1 space. We're going to chain 2 and then stitch 2 more double crochets in that chain 1 space. Now, if your pumpkin is small like this one, you may only want to chain 3, but if you're doing a big pumpkin like my white one, you might want to chain more, and that's where you need to make it and set it on your pumpkin and see if it's going to work. Okay, so we chained 3 here, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 again, and then we'll go to the next chain 1 space and stitch another shell stitch. So I've got a double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. That's our shell stitch. All right, and then we'll chain 3, and we'll do this all the way around. One neat thing about making these, like I said, is that yarn is very stretchy, so we have a little bit to work with. And it's also kind of up to you if you like your little collar to lay flat or you want it to be bunchy. I mean, it's kind of up to you if you want it to just lay over or you want it to fit snug. Like anything else, or even a hat for your own head, everybody likes a different way of wearing it. I like to make mine a little big just because I want to be able to use them over and over again and get some space in there, you know, just for being versatile for a little bit different size pumpkins. All right, chain 2. And what I'm doing here is I'm just working my way around. I'm stitching a shell stitch that is 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, then I'm chaining 3, and then I'm stitching a shell stitch in the chain 1 space of each of the V stitches. I'm trying to go just a little bit fast because it does take a little longer to make one of these than some of the other things we've done together, but I think you're really going to like making these. They're super fun, and you can make them in all different colors and styles. All right, so I'm to my last V stitch, so I'm double crocheting 2 times, chain 2, and shell stitch. There we go, and then chain 3. I'm again going to join to my chain 3 with a slip stitch. I'm going to slip stitch in the double crochet, and then I'm going to slip stitch right in that chain 2 space and chain 3. All right, so let's take a look at it now. See how that looks? Here's my pumpkin. I can set it on there and see, okay, that's a good fit. If it was going to be a little bit snug, I might want to add an extra chain between each of my shell stitches, and that's how you adjust the pattern. All right, so this is fitting really nice, so I'm going to just repeat what I did on this row. So I'm going to do shell stitches in the chain 2 space of the shell stitches, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, only this time I'm going to chain 4. And that's going to make it so that it fits down over the pumpkin just a little bit more. If you're doing a bigger one, you might want to chain more chains between. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space of the shell. 2, 3, 4. I'm chaining 4 between, and you can see how that looks. Here's our V-stitch, shell stitch, and shell stitch. Now I'm only doing one more row of shell stitches. If you want your little collar to come down farther on your pumpkin, you can do more. For instance, if you're doing it for a bigger pumpkin, you might want the collar to come down farther. 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm going to try to whip around here relatively quick. There we go. And I do have the pattern written out, and it'll be on the blog if you want to see it. A lot of people prefer a written pattern as well, and so I'll have that written on the blog, and I'll post that when we get done here. I always like to go back over and make sure I don't have any misspellings in the blog. You know, I use spell check, but it doesn't always catch all my mistakes. And sometimes I'll spell the wrong word, like I'll put an and it's A-N, and that's spelled correctly, but what I really meant was and. So sometimes spell check doesn't catch because it is spelled correct, but it's still a mistake. So anywho, 4. All right. This is my last shell. Got around there relatively quick. All right, so there's our last shell. Get those last 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. 2, 3, 4. Join to the top of our chain 3. Slip stitch in that next double crochet. And then slip stitch in the chain 2 space. I'm going to chain 3 there. I'm going to take it, set it on my pumpkin, make sure it's going to fit nicely, and see how that fits nicely right over the pumpkin? Because I increased by 1 chain here. And that, like I said, that's how you adjust this pattern. Now, you can do as many rows as you want, but you don't have to. It's up to you how many rows that you want to add to your shell. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a trim. Alrighty, and the way the trim works, we've got our chain 3, and we're going to stitch 5 additional double crochets in that chain 2 space. So that'll be 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's 6 double crochets counting our chain 3. And we're just going to stitch a single crochet going around that chain in between. And then we'll go to the next one. And what this does is it gives it a nice edge and gives it a little bit of weight to help it to hold down, and also kind of brings it in a little. So it's got kind of 3 things that it's doing for us. So basically what we're doing is we're stitching 6 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need 1 more, in the chain 2 space of the shell. And then we're stitching a single crochet going around that chain that's in between. It could be a chain 5, it could be a chain 6, however many you put in there for the size of your pumpkin. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I know this demonstration's a little longer than some of the other ones that we've had, but hey, it's Halloween and we're going to have us some fun, right? I know I'm trying to go a little bit fast, but I want to get it all in so that you can see the finish. Make sure I get my 6. Single crochet around those chains in between. All right, got a couple more. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always stop one too soon, don't I? All right, single crochet. It looks like 2 more shells. We can do this. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, Seems like when you're in a hurry, you always get strings and knots. All right, we're going to do a last single crochet there and our last shell. Actually, we have one more single crochet after this one, after this shell. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Woohoo, we're almost done. Last single crochet and then join to our chain 3. All right. Now, of course, we'll need to weave these ends in. I'm going to pull this to the inside and tie that off. And we'll need to use our needle and weave those ends in. And here's our pumpkin. Get that string out of the way. Isn't that the cutest thing? All right, now what I do with that black yarn is I just cut, you know, 2 strands about 10 or 12 inches long. There we go. And I just loop it through like this, through one of those stitches. And I go behind like the whole thing of the V-stitch. There we go. And I just tie a bow. Now you don't have to tie a bow, you can do whatever you want. And then of course, trim them a little bit. And that just adds a little extra fun to our pumpkin. All right, let me move these back up out of the way so I can scoot my chair back over. All righty. I know that took a little longer than usual, but it's super fun. And here's our finished product. And you can use these year after year. Isn't that fun? I just think it's a new fun way to, they've probably been out there, I just didn't know about it. But I think it's a lot of fun, and you can use them year after year, and that way you don't waste your pumpkin, you know. And you could bake your pumpkin down and make pies out of it. I'm personally not a big pumpkin pie fan. I know I don't like pumpkin spice. Ah! So anyway, I hope that y'all enjoyed that and that you'll make some of those, because they really, really are fun to make. And they're fun to give away too. This one here, I love the white pumpkins, and I've not ever seen any real white pumpkins around. And so I saw some, I think this year, I want to say at, I think I did see them at Walmart. I don't know. Anyway, so I had already bought this pumpkin, and I thought, what a great idea to make the teal, so the kids know you have, like I said, the allergy-free treats. And then that's something you've got every year, and you can just pop it out. So anyway, someone said we have a free and Parker for our Parker thing on Facebook. And someone said, how do you keep the squirrels from eating your pumpkins? And I posted, I buy plastic pumpkins. You know what? That doesn't always work, because squirrels will chew anything. All right. Should we get back to our joke? Did anybody figure out the joke? All right. The joke was, how do you mend a broken pumpkin? The answer is, with a pumpkin patch. Is that not the funniest thing? Okay. All right. For anyone who hasn't clinked in yet, let's clink in. Clink and trick or treat. And I wanted to show you this mix I do every year. I showed you how to do it last year. It's just 1 part of your kind of nuts, any kind, walnuts or whatever. I actually have walnuts in here today. And peanuts are nice too. And then I get the mix with the pumpkins and the candy corn and the chocolate candy corns, and then I get a mix of M&Ms, and I throw them all in there and make a mix. And to me, it's just really, really good. Today is National Candy Corn Day, so we have to eat some candy corns today. Alrighty? Okay. Now, I know we're going just a little bit long today, but I want to show you what we did this week. If you look behind me there, I've got the Cavalier scarf that we did, and that's a brand new pattern and video. And then behind me is we did step number 10, or stitch number 10. We did butterfly stitches. Let me get this up close here. For our Harmony sample blanket crochet along. And if you don't know, what we're doing is each month we're learning a new stitch and adding it to our blanket. And we've been doing this for the whole year of 2018. And of course, this is the 10th month. So that's the 10th stitch. So we have 2 more stitches, and then we're going to put a trim on it. And if you want to know how to adjust it, size and all that stuff, that's in video number 1. So make sure you watch video number 1 to learn, and then just kind of go through and learn the stitches. The other thing that we did was the Cordial bag. And originally I had made this bag using Cordial Red Heart Super Saver, not Super Saver, but Red Heart Cordial yarn. And it's like a string, almost like a parachute cord. And it's a really good sturdy bag for when you go to the farmer's market or to Sprouts to get your vegetables, and it will hold it really strong. You can put cucumbers and tomatoes, but you can also put like cantaloupes and grapefruits. It's really sturdy. Well, they don't make this yarn anymore. And so I had someone ask me, do I have an idea for another yarn that would work to make a good sturdy bag? And I thought, I sure do. And this is the Burnett Maker. It's almost like a t-shirt yarn. It's not as sturdy as the cord yarn, but it's very, very sturdy. And it has just a little bit more stretch, so you can put more stuff inside of it. And I think it would make a great project bag. Just make sure you put another container for your hooks and pieces, or you'll lose them out the holes. But it's a great bag, good and sturdy. And we did that this week also. We updated the pattern online, and then we did a video to go with it. And so that's what's new this week at Posh Pooch Designs. Okay, so we talked about dog. Now, if you didn't watch at the beginning of the video when I talked a little bit about dogs and Halloween and safety, go ahead and watch. That's real important because dogs get so scared when they see all these kids in these costumes, and the kids are excited. They're hyped up on chocolates and candies. And so we just need to be thoughtful and remember that dogs get scared. And like I said, Halloween is the second most popular holiday for dogs to run away. Of course, like I said, 4th of July is number 1 and Halloween is number 2 because we're so excited, and it's like the kickoff of all the holidays. You know, we go and we go through the next few months just going after party and celebration after celebration with all different things, and family get-togethers and church get-togethers and school get-togethers and programs and all that. And there's so much excitement in the air. And so that we need to be careful and help our dogs not get overwhelmed. And I know that sounds silly because we get overwhelmed and our kids get overwhelmed, but we don't want our puppies and our dogs to run away. So try to be thoughtful. You know, if someone's coming over and they're excited or whatever, put them in their safe place, in their crate or in your room or something. Same with kitties, so they don't bolt out the door. Alrighty? And then I also talked about what I do with my pumpkins. I'm just going over my notes, making sure I got it all in. All right, so I'm going to let you go. I hope you'll make some of those pumpkin covers because I just love them. Let me grab this green one that we did. Isn't that the cutest thing? And you don't have to use fancy yarns. You can use any of your leftovers to make these. I wanted to make a black one because I think a black one would be a lot of fun. But I just, with the lighting, you know, you wouldn't be able to really see. And I knew I was going to have to be going a little bit fast because it's a little bigger than some of the other things that we've done together. So, use your creativity, come up with some fun ideas, and let me see them. Now remember, I love seeing the things that you make, and I love seeing the things that you crochet with my patterns. You can post those at the Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page. You can also post them at the PPD Puppy Love group, which is a group I started off the page, and I really love using that group because I love seeing the things that you make. I love it when you post, you know, whether they're my patterns or not. I love seeing the creativity that you have. And so feel free to post at either place. And if you can't, and if you don't feel comfortable, you know, posting, you can always just send me a message through the Posh Pooch Designs. I have my messages set back up now. I had taken them down for a while. I was having a little bit of trouble with some inappropriate postings. And so I had stopped that, and I thought, I'll have to deal with that because I want to see what people are doing. I want to see their creativity because I love crochet and I love yarn, and I want to see what you guys are up to. All right. Dawn says she's drinking chai pumpkin spice tea. Now that sounds good. I'll have to be honest with you. I have trouble with cinnamon. I'm not allergic. I'm actually what's called a sensitivity. And it really depends on what cinnamon it is. So sometimes I'll break all out and my tongue will swell up and I'll get all itchy, and then sometimes I won't. So I just keep the Benadryl close. But I'm just not a big fan of anything with cinnamon in it. So Oh, Dawn, this is a different Dawn. She says her dogs don't like her decorations and he growls at them, at the skeletons. Well, he probably thinks it's a human laying there or standing there naked, without their skin. Another thing is dogs see in black and white. And if you've ever looked at black and white scary stuff, it's a lot more scarier in black and white than it is in color, don't you think? The last thing I want to tell you about is this cool shirt I'm wearing. I didn't realize that my pumpkins up here were upside down though. But I bought this at Walmart. It was only like $6. And it's that really soft, stretchy fabric. And I just love it. So go get you one. If you don't want to dress up for Halloween with costume and all that stuff, get you one of these fun shirts. They've got several different kinds. I have another one I bought that's all spider webs. So anyway, I hope that y'all have a happy, happy Halloween. You have a lot of fun. Don't play too many tricks. Trick or treat, smell my feet. Give me something good to eat. I'll see you all next week.